The Obama administration is expanding the so-called Secure Communities program, which is designed to identify criminal illegal aliens in our jails so they can be deported. And that's the subject of our face-off debate tonight. My guests are Congressman Steve King. He's the ranking member of the Immigration Subcommittee, who says Secure Communities is a program that's misguided. And Congressman David Price, chairman of House Appropriations Subcommittee for Homeland Security, who says Secure Communities is viable. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. Let me start with you, if I may, Congressman King. This program seems to make some considerable sense. Why do you think it is misguided?
Well, I think that parts of it will be very, very helpful. But the other component is that they're really only looking to pick up those criminal aliens for deportation. And in the process of doing so, they're missing the other component of this, which is that all of those eligible for deportation should be deported. And that's my issue with it. I think that it's an important component. It adds to the cause. But if it's exclusively the verbiage that we hear from the Obama administration that we're only going to be enforcing against those criminal aliens, those that have committed crimes here in the United States, that's not enough. We need to do it all.
Congressman Price, your thoughts?
I think that's a very strange interpretation of what Secure Communities is all about. I guess some people are determined to pick a fight no matter what you're doing, but it seems to me if there's one thing liberals and conservatives and everybody else in between can agree on, it's that the first priority for deportation ought to be those illegal aliens who have proved their willingness and their capacity to do us harm, namely people who have committed serious crimes. And that is the impetus, that's the thrust that Congress, under Democratic leadership 2 years ago, mandated, that it's not acceptable. I remember the very first time I was chairman of the committee, chairman of the subcommittee. The head of ICE came before us and said, and had to admit, that tens of thousands of criminal aliens were being turned out back on the streets of America every year without us even knowing who they are. So
what do you say, Congressman King, to that?
Well, first, I would agree with Mr. Price to a certain degree, and according to his own records, there are 600,000 illegal aliens locked up in our jails today. That's about 26% of the overall prison population. If they're committing 26% of the murders, 26% of the rapes, there's a tremendous amount of crime and a tremendously high number of Americans that are victims to these crimes. But we need to be preventative, too. I mean, this is a de facto amnesty. It says if you're not a criminal, but you're eligible for deportations, we're not going to be really focusing on deporting you. So I don't think it's strange at all to take the position that if you're legally eligible for deportation, we should deport all of those who violated the law in that fashion. It's that simple.
Look, it's a bizarre interpretation to say that if you're going to focus on criminal aliens as your first priority, then by definition you're ignoring everybody else. Who's saying that? Nobody's saying that.
Well, I hope that's right. I hope it's right. But I heard the briefing that came from all of our Border Patrol people for an hour and a half, and their focus down there was they were going to turn and try to intercept illegal money and guns that became illegal when they got to Mexico. And in an hour and a half, only once mentioned the illegal drugs coming into America and the illegal aliens coming into America. I'm seeing a shift in this administration. I hope I'm wrong, but my interpretation is that it's going to be more exclusive and focused on some of these areas like this and let some of the rest of it go.
Is Congressman King wrong, Congressman Price?
Well, this isn't about the Mexican drug cartels. That, of course, is an important problem, and we can discuss that. We have redoubled our efforts to deal with that problem. What we're talking about here is people who have committed crimes, who have been convicted of crimes, and are in our prisons. Are we going to deport them or not?
Let me ask you both this question. We know, after the experience of the Border Patrol's deportations, that Customs and Border Patrol are deporting people, but there is almost no way to stop their return to the United States. So how will we judge the success of this program, Congressman Price, if we know that our border remains a sieve, our ports remain a sieve, and we know full well, that people are crossing our border after being deported 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times?
Well, first of all, we need to stop that. And I must say, Congress in the last couple of years under Democratic leadership has committed more Border Patrol agents to the border, has committed more to border security than had been done previously. But the question is, what about these people who have done us harm? In no way should the deportation proceeding trump the criminal justice proceeding. These people should do time. They should do time. They should serve their full sentences, and then they should be slated for deportation.
Congressman King.
Lou, I take this position that all levels of law enforcement at local level, state, and federal should all be engaged in a cooperative effort to enforce all of our laws, including our federal immigration laws. And when people who are eligible for deportation are encountered by local law enforcement, they should not be allowed to turn them loose anywhere except to ICE for deportation. And I have a bill that I've drafted that's ready to be introduced, and I would hope Mr. Price would join with me in it, that would suspend their SCAP funding and
we're going to have to end it here. I'm sorry, Congressman.
Yes.
We're out of time. Congressman King, Congressman Price, thank you, gentlemen, both for being with us.
Thank you so much.
President Obama